The professional, very bilingual. Blow shit out the frame, aim at the stat quo.
Peace, Super Heru. Super Heru Radio, you are now tuned in live. Super Heru Radio. To be redundant, I am your host, Aseer the Duke of Tears, along with my co-host, Amina the Empress of 10,000 Years, Saga Asar, all of the Super Heruians out there, all of the ancestors coming in, broadcasting live, coming all the way down from Sirius, A, B, and C, verifying that we are who we say we are, because I am that I am. I want to give respect and praise to all the new lives of all the Super Herus that were born and incarnated since the last time we spoke, as well as to all of those who transcended while those great future ancestors, star gods, and star goddesses were incarnating in. We need just as many members of the celestial body in the upper realms, just as we need strong, powerful fighters down here in the lower realms. However, being that Earth is already in space, then this is heaven. Yet, what makes it heaven or hell is our choices, and the choices that we make every minute or every second of the day. So for those people who choose love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality over all that is irrelevant and does not exist and does not matter, that is irrelevant and does not exist and does not matter, hats off to you, feathers off to you as a sign of respect, you know what I mean? Or I should say feathers on to you as a awesome sign of respect. For those people who are still trying to figure out what avenue of so-called black consciousness or African consciousness or whatever they're calling it this year, I say to you, at least you being conscious about something, and at least you choosing to invest your energy into something that eventually, inshallah, will lead you to the greatest knowledge, the greatest mysteries, the greatest unknown, which is the undiscovered country of the temple that is you. More people know about great kings and queens in Africa than what their favorite food is or what their favorite color is or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't sit down and study themselves. They want to study everything else and want to be a scholar and a lecturer and an information propagandist for everything and everybody else. But when it comes to figuring out what makes them tick, what is the thing that fuels their fire, what makes them tick, a lot of them just don't know. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because, for the most part, everybody should at least know who and what they are. However, knowledge itself is not common and is not knowledgeable amongst those who covet knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And when knowledge planted for wisdom and vice versa, without all coming in tandem to bring forth the understanding, then what you really just have is confusion. And according to Act 5 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, it says that we're not to be out here promoting confusion amongst the 85 and those people who have not subscribed to the ideologies that we have. So regardless of how much you want all original people, all so-called black people to be free, it's selfish of you to want that for those of them who don't want that. You understand what I'm saying? Just because somebody say they want to be free and say that they want to live their life and their culture, don't mean they really want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got niggas promoting black sovereignty now. You know what I'm saying? So again, and when I say blacks, Me, I'm talking about the eternal triple stage darkness, out of which 66 trillion years ago the original man descended, and from there 100,000 years ago to 50,000 years ago descended into flesh, which represents the fall of man. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? When I say black people, I'm talking about people who have that understanding or who are striving for that understanding. Because those are the real people. Those are the people who are sharing the imagery and the technology and the spiritual technology that we are using to transcend this mundane reality. No, I didn't. I was just taking a breath. It's to a point where we revere those when the real people revere certain energy of people, but the real energy that we need to be revering, we don't even really people pay attention to like that. One of the greatest mathematicians, a.k.a. scholars, a.k.a. Moorish scientists that ever lived or whoever will live was a brother named C. Freeman L. And it was him who made the zodiac applicable to Moors again, because up until him, there weren't a lot of Moors dealing with the zodiac like that. And at the time that he was doing his work, right before he returned, he was working on an astrology book that bust down the whole Bible. He was busting down a book on astrology that bust down the whole Bible. Coincidentally enough, after he died, a book came out called The Astrology of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So everything has a beginning someplace. But in that, this is, again, one of the greatest minds of our time, you know. But most of the population will never have him, you know what I mean? Because really, those of us that are doing a lot of the work, the real work, you know what I mean, our audience is not even born yet, you know what I'm saying? Or they're incarnating at such a rate where they're not fully actualized yet. So there's a splendid time for us to really take advantage of the historical continuity that is manifesting out of the work that we are doing in understanding and giving energy to the knowledge of yourself. Knowledge itself is a coveted thing. Like I said, everybody wants you to have knowledge of everything else other than that. Because having true knowledge of yourself means that people can't railroad you into certain ways of thinking. That means then they can't tell you that they just got you from a slave ship or something like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole nother level of consciousness that exists in which you can't even encompass as a human being. You understand what I'm saying? There's a certain level of knowledge about yourself that you can't have as a human at this point. You have to transcend the flesh. It used to be in the times of Enoch and all that, you could stay in the same body and do all of that. But this don't mean it can't be like that again. It just means that where we are right now as a species, as a people, we have been greatly reduced based upon the inhibiting nature of our thoughts. Our thoughts connotate our deeds and actions. Therefore, if your thoughts are limited, your deeds and actions will be limited. You can't UCC that. You dig what I'm saying? You can't discharge that. You dig what I'm saying? You have a contingency of energy now that's trying to convince you that monetary gain is somehow synonymous to higher spirituality. Now, I'm a study of history, so I know where all of that type of talk started from. That started from one of the 12 adepts named Sweet Daddy Grace, a.k.a. Manuel de Graca. Okay? He's the reason why you got a T.D. Jakes, a Peter Popoff, the rest of these niggas. He created all that money and spirituality shit. He the one who did that. But guess where he came from? He came out of Moorstein's Temple of America. You understand? So who you think taught him how to do that? Who you think taught him the inner knowledge of that? Another one who started a quasi-Christian church was Father Divine, rest of the day. His was more integrated. You tell me how in the late 50s, early 60s, how this black man, so-called black man, was married to this white woman, and then at the same time, he was getting black men who were second-class 14th Amendment citizens with no right to vote, and black white women who were second-class citizens and didn't have the right to vote. How is he getting them tax-exempt status? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an energy behind a lot of the actions and deeds that's going down. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole nother thing. Reverend Ike, again, he wanted them that came out of Daddy Grace's model. Pryor was praying Daddy Grace, not Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike was one of his proteges. Another one who knew about the real Moors, but was about getting his money. So you have a contingency, again, of Pan-Africanists, so-called Africans, brothers and sisters, that now telling you if you are ill or a bay or something like that, you using a foreign, that's foreign. They didn't try everything. They didn't try to tell you that the Moors was white. They didn't try to tell you that Noble Ali was this. They didn't try to tell everything. So now the new shit is that Elam Bay is a foreign title, and that brings you back to so-called Africa. But these are the same people who saying that the so-called blacks here are not from Africa. But when you go to Africa, you don't find no Eels and Bays over there like that. You don't find no people claiming Moorish heritage, Moorish society, Moorish culture like that. You don't, man. If you do, it's always in the western part of Africa. But in that, then let's be specific and talk about what countries. We talk about Morocco. We talk about Mali. But when you talk specifically of Eels and Bays and all that, you're talking about people from over here whose names was carried over there and then brought back to them in a new European, Franciscan, Moorish amalgamated form. So the only reason why your birth name technically is a slave name, if it sounds English, is because the English slaves adopted that name after you took the Eel or the Bay off. But then they say, oh, there wasn't no Moors here in the country like that. But almost every issue I've read of the ancient American got somebody over here, some rock engraving, some mound, some pyramid, something like that, with somebody engraved in it with a fez or a turban, or wearing some sort of feathers or whatever that. So, again, man, niggas say what they want. C. Freeman L. taught us that Asia, the word Asia translates to the word what God has made. Comes down to what God has made. Therefore, an Asiatic, you see what I'm saying? Or being Asiatic is a race. Being a Moor is someone who promotes Asiatic culture on all planes of existence, i.e. then Moor. So we incarnate from the greatest central sun in all of these so-called hemispheres, dimensions, realms, galaxies, spheres, chambers, Sephiroth, universes. All these things mean the same thing. A place of infinite space. Yet outside of all of this, when you really go out, right, you get into what's called the Virgo supercluster. That's why Virgos can rule all the other zodiacs. That's why they can be that, because they can get the flaw in each one and exploit it if necessary. But also, they are the Earth and Venus. Venus is represented by a green star. Star comes from the word Ishtar or Astarte. Also the word Astaroth, which is also a lower throne entity. So it's funny when you get a white rapper named Asheroth. See what I'm saying? See how funny that is? Asheroth, right? So you see going down, like there's a whole nother tetragrammaton working underneath everybody, because everybody is looking at it from a limited perspective. When you study Moorish science, you're studying science as a Moor, which means you are studying it from or as a descendant of the creator of the known universe, because you, the Moors, are the only ones that's carrying his last name or her last name. Elohim and Yahweh, i.e. they. Because at one point the Y was switched with the B in certain Canaanite texts. But again, Moorish science is also the highest science of all the other sciences, because it brings out the aspect of the science that deals with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, right? And order. It is about the order of things, how things come to be, how things come into being. There is a Latin phrase, a Moorish Latin phrase that goes that it's qui accurit sibi accurit heredibus, which means he who secures for himself secures for his heirs. You understand? Just like qui accurit sibi accurit, well, I said that one. What was the other one? Qui comalio contrahit vel est vel ebe debet non ignoros contradictos ejos, which means he who enters a contract either is or ought not to be ignorant of what the contract entails. We are no people. We are a righteous people. We are a royal people. We are a humbled by God people. You understand that you got brothers and sisters walking around talking about they want to have upliftment of the black culture and the black society and all that, but they atheists. They atheists. Think about that. That's like you having AZ or somebody. I don't like you always using him. This would be like you having Guy de Rothschild as like your father, but then you being like, nah, I don't really deal with what he deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, I don't really get down like that. I don't really believe in all. I don't believe in what he's doing. Nigga, you grew up in it. What you mean you don't believe what he doing? What he doing paid for all of them ponies and them bat mitzvahs and your your $250,000 car that you got for your 16th birthday and all that. Where you think all this blood money? Where you think this money coming from? But then you want to get to an age and you're gonna be like, nah, I don't agree with his politics, so I'm gonna make my way on my own. Like, come on, man. Like, I hear you, Anakin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you, Anakin. I hear what you're saying. Right. Right, you did it all for Padme, right? Yeah. Well, look what that got him. All of that is to say that while all of this stuff is going down where they hyping you up with the whole, where's the plane, missing plane, the plane. Think about what they keep telling you, man. They talk about a missing plane, and the plane was 777, and the number of the plane was like 327 or something like that. There was another 7 in the number. The type of plane it was a 777, but the actual plane number was like 307 or 702 or some crazy shit. Right? The plane. Think about how they talk about it. Oh, well, the plane went missing, and so we had to find it, and we had to use every measure possible. Thank you, Activator On Man. 370. Right. See? Another damn 7. So that's 4 sevens and 1 3. Right? Now, we know that 777 is the number for the Babylon working on the dark end through the Golden Dawn, a.k.a. the Moorish Orthodox Church, a.k.a. the Church of Scientology, a.k.a. the Nation of Islam, because the Nation of Islam got signed up to the Church of Scientology. Whether, I don't know if y'all know. Ask the next time you see a nigga selling Final Call or Bean Pie or something, ask him about that. Ask him if he's been audited yet. Audited? L. Ron Hubbard, you couldn't come up with no other word but the same word the IRS used to get niggas on their taxes? Like, oh, word, that's how it go? Okay. Run tell that. Go ask him about that. I think the plane is also a representative of the planes. Elijah Muhammad talked about a mother plane, didn't he? Noble Joe Ali talked about a mother plane, too. But the mother plane doesn't necessarily mean the vessel. The mother plane literally means the plane of which the mother energy transcended, or the plane of that is the mother of us all. That's the plane or the realm of God. That is a manifestation in the highest form out of that triple stage dark that encases around. We're like a speck. We're not even like, we're like half of a grain of sand. We're not even a quarter of an inch of a grain of sand in the mighty aspect of the universe and the cosmos. There's a micro and a macro. Remember that. We could be in a drop of water in somebody's dimension right now. Right? There's a point when you study yourself that you're going to get to a point where you're almost at odds with yourself because there's a breakthrough that's happening. Things about yourself still. I'm a grown-ass man, 41, and sometimes I still don't pee straight into the toilet. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So that means it was the same way for Einstein. It was the same way for Howard Hughes. It was the same way for Martin King and everybody else. You understand? You are never too old to submit to a higher form of knowledge that is coming to you from a sublime place that would allow you to access that sublimity within you to raise yourself to the point that you actually grow up. You grow up, meaning that you activate the macabre, transpose into light, and bounce back to where we came from. Some of us have mastered the ability to do that in physical form. But to get to that physical part, you got to get the meditative aspect up to the point where you can commune and then travel astrally with yourself first and then with your mate or your partner. Cream used to be the best part until Wu-Tang. Then it was turned into cash rule and everything around us. But we understood the cream from the 120, which is manifestation of the sperm reaching the egg, going through the Milky Way and all of that. That's the Big Bang. That's the friction that causes the reality. Them dudes used to say that, yo, I banged it out. Yo, we about to bang. Yo, I banged her back out. These little idioms and things that we act like is not really a part of nothing is actually a part of something way bigger. But we are caught up in figuring out everything else except ourselves. When the last time you just sat down by yourself and not did nothing and only thought about what you wanted to think about? Or how about this? Don't even think about nothing. When was the last time you just sat down away from nobody? The kids, no cell phones, no emails, no Twitter, no nothing. When was the last time you did that for yourself? Like that. When the last time you did anything for yourself? Really. But when I say something for yourself, I mean like read something or go for a walk with yourself. You see what you encounter and things like that. Buy something that you like for yourself that help with your self-esteem, whatever it may be. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time I did that? I don't know. Maybe my birthday. But it still wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? You know? Because there is no day off anymore. You were always thinking about this stuff. What is truthful? You are searching for the truth. For you, not to be in league with somebody else, you could be a Moor and not be in the Moor Science Temple of America. You may not agree with it, but you could still be an eel in the bay. Like, I'm not going to look at you and be, me, and I'm a chairman. I'm not going to look at you and be like, oh, well, you're not really down because, you know, you're not really in it. You might be more down than people in the temple. You don't even have to bear witness to the prophet. It just means that there's a certain limitation that we're going to have in our exchange due to your ideology, because I don't want to do or be in a position to espouse certain things that you don't agree with because you got problems with the prophet based upon what DVD or whatever you done seen or whatever. And I'm not one to defend the prophet. The prophet defend himself. I ain't got to debate nobody about nothing. I done put in too much work. And not only that, I take the divine constitution bylaws seriously. So I'm not going to confuse somebody that's obviously confused to want to come and talk to me about anything, you know what I'm saying, of historical reference. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not just dealing with you based on a book, homie. I'm dealing with you based on a lot of books, as well as the metaphysical aspect of what this stuff means, and then how it relates to you as an individual, bringing this or regurgitating some shit that was probably manifested out of the mouth of Malthus, Hobbes, or Nietzsche, or one of the other, you know, Greeleys or Stevens that they done created to help perpetuate the reconstruction of history that you now trying to espouse to me under the guise of you a revolutionary, you about the red, black, and green, you about the Israelites, you about this or that. Like, I don't even care, man. I don't even care. I'm like Superfly in the scene where he was building with the Black Panther niggas, and he was like, look, niggas, if you want to do it, you got the guns, I got the gun, let's go and do it right now. Let's run up in Whitey thing and shut this shit down right now. And these niggas looked at each other. He said, well, if you're not ready to do it now, then get the fuck out of my face and let me keep doing what I'm doing. And what was he doing? Selling dope. You know what I'm saying? Selling dope. You understand? The niggas that was selling dope is more real. You understand? It's more real than half of these niggas that's out here espousing this black power, black nationalism, black sovereignty, whatever it is this week. I don't even know. Them niggas is more real than that because them niggas is actually risking something. You understand? They risking their life on the street. Elder told me how he did a dime 10 years, man, for selling dope, where they was getting it $25 a key, man. For who's in the game or know what the game is and stuff like that. That's a lot, man. And that's off the wet. That's not even stepped on. Now I'm talking real drug talk, but I'm doing that to espouse that these niggas was getting it. You understand? That's money. That's heavy money niggas was getting. And some of these niggas get the book Government Talk for Gangster by Jerry Lewis Bay. I'm telling you, Morris, read this book, man. Go peep this book, son, because this dude is going in terms of what he was able to do and how he knew karmically, based upon him violating the tenets of the prophet, what would eventually is going to happen. But what I will say, and again, I'm not espousing people who sell drugs and nothing like that. I'm just saying that whole thing that these so-called governmental agencies created to turn people into zombies and stuff like that, in order for them to make it work, you have to understand they had to create a system by which the so-called game would function. You understand? Meaning that while they was creating the chemical aspect of crack, they were creating or striving to manifest the psychological, governmental aspect of crack to go along with the actual drug. You understand what I'm saying? These niggas formulated the system by which you get the consignment, right? You know, you start off on the street hustling hand in hand, right? You take your first pinch, you don't rat, you come out, you then get approached, you then start making better runs, and then eventually you move up. And then from there it goes on to the point where you become the kingpin. They mapped that out. You understand what I'm saying? Like, think about that. While these niggas was making the actual thing to get people addicted and messed up, in order for them, they couldn't just put it out there. They had to create a system by which the people would turn it into a living organism through economics. That's how you have stories like Nino Brown. That's the perfected story. What's the story of the rapper? It's the same thing. That's why they made Biggie and Pac like the pinnacle. The West Coast Don and the East Coast Commissioner. Because Biggie said he was ahead of commission, remember? Therefore, the hip-hop game, which came out of the drug game and the extortion game and the racketeering pimp hoe game, the economics that paid for the speakers, that paid for the techniques, that paid for the spray paint, that paid for the linoleum, the Adidas, the gold chains, the gazelles, the sheepskins, and the Kango hats, and the checkered lumberjack jackets and all that shit, and the Lee jeans and all of that. That's what paid for all of that, man. Like, where people think this money was coming from? This shit was coming from the game, man. And then once they got enough money where they could transfer it out, they created the pattern which everybody would then come into the game from that point on, which would be you would get the drugs, you would sell the drugs, you know what I mean? And then eventually people started guilty enough about it where these dudes was actually talented at something, writing poetry and shit. And that is when the industry realized, or the government realized, or somebody realized, okay, the blacks is into rapping and DJing. The Latins is into the graffiti, and they both so-called African, meaning they're from Northwest, Southwest Africa, a.k.a. North Central and South America, right? But we done made them think that they have a foreign African influence. So they constitute how the culture is integrated. And they split it. So if you Torah 2000, Phase 2, Basquiat, Herring, you know what I'm saying? Ski 1, you know what I'm saying? All of these bombers, Crazy Legs, and the rest of these dudes, they start getting brought up into through the factory, through the Warhol scene and all of that, which was the homo gay stuff that they was pumping in the village. But that was the only place where, like, the pseudo-creative blacks that wasn't into gangs and shit could chill without being preyed on by niggas trying to put them in gangs. Because back then you had to choose. You couldn't just be a civilian. Like, you could be a civilian if you was, like, a married man or, like, you know, like a square dude, like, have a job, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, have, like, a, you know, like, you do things, like a woman, children, stuff like that. So when crack came, that came and switched up all of that. That was a governmental change. That coincided with the change of the government. From whoever it was before Reagan to Reagan. Once Reagan came in, that's when the new government came in. That's when Star Wars came in. That's when crack came in. That's when Iran-Contra came in. And look what that got. So this shit is bigger than rap, but through rap, I can explain it to you, and you can understand it, like I just did. You see what I'm saying? I can express it to you in a manner because of hip-hop that prior to another time I wouldn't have been able to do like that. That's why they got all these dudes caught up on heroin and all of that, which is now making a big comeback and everybody wants to get it and blah, blah, blah. Like I said, look for them to start talking about all of the extra stuff in terms of how they want to start to flip the money and all of that. That has nothing to do with the overall discussion that is going on in our communities, which is how the money is going to be functioned and how come it never gets to the people who need it. Because those are not the people who they make the money for. So any community that wants its own money has to write its own grants for its own. So therefore, you know, any nation or whoever want to do it, you got to do it ourselves. They're not going to do it for you, but they'll provide you with what you need to do it. You know what I'm saying? But if you make yourself an enemy of the state by trying to bring down something that's already done, like you railing up against them killing the police and them shooting youngsters and all of that, which you should. But at the same time, if things ain't going to run up and do nothing about it, what is marching and all that going to do? The dream that Martin Luther King had for real, this is the dream that was marketed to you as the dream you should have. You dig You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't really about you per se. This is about us. Therefore, the more that we can push forward and do that which is necessary for us to accomplish what we need to will be great. Also, based upon a lot of the different things that they're doing in terms of forced migrations and stuff like that, you should always do the knowledge to where people are moving to. You know? So there's two other aspects of that, which of the whole plane thing, where they say that one dude smuggled out, was able to get out pictures through his cell phone that he had to hide in his anus, allegedly. So I don't know if he got the picture out, but I guess he texted it before he stuck it in his anus. I don't know. Regardless to how that went, that's one story where they actually smuggled a picture based on the military base that the plane was forced to land in. But this guy, again, is like an IBM head. So this is a big dude. This ain't like a whack dude, like a regular civilian. This is somebody who's been making money with them. So if they retire somebody like that, that's what they call collateral damage. You know what I'm saying? That could be hard for them if somebody pressed them as to where this dude is. You see what I'm saying? Then there's another thing that says that they exploded it over the Indian Ocean. Either way, that was an act of war. That was seen as an act of war which is why he had to cease and flip the whole thing, because he knew that Ukrainian government was trying to hook up with them. So they basically split the Ukraine up the same way they split up the Sudan, between the north and the south. They did that in Sudan because they want to get the oil wells. That's what Clooney helping them with. That's why Clooney always over there. Whereas Affleck, the new Batman, they got him in Uganda. See what I'm saying? All of a sudden, he really cares about Ugandans, this white Bostonian. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, it gives a damn about some Ugandans, you know, and the water they have. Yeah. With his people in Boston starving, you know. But whatever, you know what I'm saying? He'll probably be good as Batman, you know. That's so you could really say it to that. But these are the people that's running. They running them the same way they will run Hip Flop's royalty, the Hip Flop Nation's royalty, Mr. and Mrs. Beyonce. You know what I mean? But people jock them so hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really, you know, they shut you down for that. You know what I mean? Like, they jock that chick really hard. And she's been on the top for a long time. Remember, she's the one that replaced Jennifer Lopez. You know what I mean? On the ethnic tip, there's always the white Britney Spears. When Britney Spears was Madonna, you know what I'm saying? There's always somebody like that, you know. And Madonna's just, you know, the real. Madonna's the Marilyn Monroe that's okay with all of the the ritual stuff. You know what I'm saying? And remember, she's Italian, so she ain't even really white. She's a WAP. Isn't it funny that we had a dance called the WAP? just interesting how that must have been mad offensive. Because I remember I used to be talking to my friends about doing the WAP and shit, and white people be walking around. I guess that was offensive to them. But who knew, you know? I didn't know what a WAP was until True Romance, when in that scene with Dennis Hopper talks about the Moors. So based on them dealing with the plane, The mother plane that they dealing is Malaysia. Remember, C. Freeman L. taught us that Asia translates to what God has made. Mal also represents the ML in Malkuth, or Malcolm, which means Malkuth, or Mark, which again means Malkuth. Malkuth is the kingdom, and the Ka'abala, which is the soul and the body of Allah. We, the conscious Asiatics, wear the face of Allah, which is why they used to tell us, stop eyeballing me. Stop eyeballing me, boy. Because ancestrally they know how it went down. But like I said, the history thing has been all flipped up. So Moorish history is also mythic history made and actualized as reality. So you have to understand, when you see these starlets and these people adopting these black kids and stuff, that's a last-ditch effort for survival. Charlize Theron grew up in apartheid, in an apartheid like white family, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she know how they got down. They had special genetic programs designed to destroy those types of so-called Africans, Kafirs as they call them. Understand? But the Africans suffer from tribalism, militarized tribalism. Over here, the tribalism wasn't always militarized. It only became militarized 150 years after the first Europeans got here. Up until then, it was tranquil, man. White folk was forbidden to be here, man. They had to be imported. They was not to be let in to the gardens. That's what it say in Genesis. The devil was access to all the fruit, but he could not touch the fruit in the garden of Eden. Eden, as an anagram, becomes Deen. That's a Moorish term. That's a scholastic chic. But again, these people just see Moorish science as, the new form of the UCC or whatever it is. But you got to understand, all of that stuff was set up by patriots, man. Wilcox and the rest of these dudes, Winston Strout and these dudes, man. This is how it go. We follow them. Okay, now we into this now. So now we militant in this way. Okay, great, man. Now we taking property and blah blah blah. Like, great, man. That's all good. That's cool. But are these people getting these houses? Like, is any of that working? No. But are people still doing it? Yes. So, regardless of what they're doing with their government, your government has always been functioning. So once you've declared it and proclaimed it openly, declaration, whether international or domestic, is a basis of common law. You can declare anything you want. Everybody came out and said, oh, we're gay. And then the state was like, that don't matter. We ain't going to recognize y'all as being married. Give a damn what you say. And then the gays created their own mafia. It wasn't created just then. It was created way back during the Hitler. Get the book, The Pink Swastika, Pink Mafia thing. The Jimmy Iovine, or all of those guys, Geffen and them people. That's their whole little like circle shit. But that's a sphere of influence you enter when you enter the game under their jurisdiction. They're just doing what they've been doing. Before white people was doing it, black people was doing it. In the 5 Heartbeats, it was Big Red doing it, man. This whole thing is Suge Knight. You can't just charge that. You know what I'm saying? You can't accept that for value. Like, this is just how it is. There's always some dirty niggas that come out trying to mess shit up when they see that you really are noble. C. Freeman L. also said it was like it's character. There's certain characters. It's being able to say no to certain things. These dudes can't do that. It's hard to say no to the sex when it's in your face. But you still got to do it. You still got to do it. And we've all fallen short. And women. Yet, do you stay in the dirt once you just fell down and shit and got all dirty and cut up? Like, do you stay on the ground with the glass and shit and broken glass? No. You get up. You're like, nah, I don't want to stay down here. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I don't like this environment. I want it to change. Right now, me and my queen are willing. We're willing our environment to change. Every day. Can't wait to get a bigger place. Can't wait to get our own house or whatever. Every day. Because the opposite attitude would have us at each other's throats. You in the way, move. It's too hot. Like all of that, man. There's people that live their whole life like that. Nah, man. It's not the way to do it. The only other way to actualize what we are striving to continue is to get it straight. But getting it straight takes time and work. And people think it's just, people have this offensive, they're on the offense with the government. But if you had set up something as a precept before you got involved in whatever altercation with these people, then they would have to pay more attention due to the fact that it's not just new or it seemed like you doing just to get out. You've already been established as this. So now they intrude. They are breaching the contract that they agreed to sign to do business with you in the first place. That's why the prophet said, do all the business in my name, because I don't already binded these niggas up with the real. They've already capitulated based upon the connections that he already had. So all of these new niggas is just people that's redefining it. But we're not to redefine it. We're to elevate it. Remember, they took law out of the temples for 80 years, man. 80 to 85 years, from 1928 to like 2003. Like real talk, son. They took it out. Only the ministers or the sheiks or whoever, or the closet masons that was at the top of it was keeping it real with themselves as to what they had to do to keep the secret. They the ones that brought the Shrinerdom and all that into more science, which is true al-Islam. That's not real, man. Shrinerdom don't have nothing to do with Islam at all. I dare anybody to find a real document that says Shrinerdom other than somebody's interpretation says that it's from Islam. No, it's not, man. The Dua al-Fakar that's at the top which is the sword of Osman Bey that's at the top, represent Islam. But these dudes was Masons that set up a little club to conceal their human trafficking ring. Ain't Trayvon Pops a Shriner? Exactly. So you see why it's useless to debate people? You see why it's useless? I'm not going to waste my talents on something like that. And I'm not even trying to big myself up. I'm being real and respecting what I do. That's what I mean about having knowledge of yourself. When you really know what you do well, people can't tell you about you. When you're your own God, meaning when you've accepted and sacrificed and humbled yourself to the fact that there is a higher aspect of you that is God. That's God. Not you as God, but the God that created everything that also is you, is God. Nobody can't. How you going to tell me that I got to do? So long as I'm not violating the basic laws of Kuf, which is the kingdom, which is the temple, and that's what it becomes. You, we rise and fall up the tree of life every day. The goal is to always get to the top, or at least the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, be honest with yourself. That's really what I see me and the Queen specifically striving to do. You know, we so crazy. We rather almost work ourselves to death and take help from people that we know are going to try to flip it on us. That's how off the chain it is with us at some points. Based upon people trying to trap you with help. The same way the United States would try to trap you with humanitarian aid. The same way some people try to do that. Now, again, I'm not talking about everybody. Like I said, the operative word is some people. Some people try to do that. And they know who they are. But based on that, inshallah, they won't do that. But I'd rather give the money back if I know it's going to be a headache or not take it at all. That's the difference between me and somebody who will get rated right, by whatever government agency and then still find a way to go do lectures in foreign lands, which is really interesting. Did this really happen? Probably. But this is what I mean. You never know. The internet is everywhere. You don't know who's putting information on it. You don't know where it's coming from, what solar system, what dimension. You don't know. You don't know. So you build a relationship with it based upon what energy you feel from whoever's promoting the energy at the time. If you feel it in a way, you'll do the knowledge to it. If you don't, you keep it moving. The internet is TV. TV doesn't exist anymore. ABC and all that, they just got to keep that going and get their money. Nobody's watching that stuff. The Emmys, nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. You only care about it when, like, Queen Latifah or somebody black is on the shit. You don't really care about that. Even with the slavery thing, with Lapita and all that, like, come on, man. You know what's going on. Even the so-called Africans know what's going on. They know. They know they people bugging now. They over here bugging out. Going to Europe, bugging out, making cakes of black tar babies and eating them with white people, like bugging out. Going to Mason Martin Margella's house doing rituals and getting mad when they won't give you a better sneaker deal, like wilding. These dudes is done. This was the revenge of the nerds era. This is when all of the nerdy whack dudes was able to get on. Look at what happened to Wiz Khalifa. Look at him. Like, what happened to him? You wearing black nail polish now? Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. It's like that. Omar Epps, you wearing a mini skirt now? Like, okay. I get it. They made you do it. I used to model. I get it. But that's why I stopped, yo. I couldn't do it. It was, couldn't do it. It was bugging too hard. For those of us that want to still be men and women who still want men and things like that, you got to understand the Pink Mafia, again, get the book, The Pink Swastika. I forget the author, but get that book. That book gets into the whole thing, where it started, how it started, all of that. But that thing is real. It's real. Same way you got the Italian, it's the same thing. It's just gay people. So it's like almost worse, because then they get to rape you after they kill you or vice versa or whatever. You dig? Like, it's that level of the game now. This is a whole different planet. So for those of us that want to get off it, committed relationships are good. Better diets are good. Reading Circle 7 Quran, the Bible, these things, thinking in a class, ecclesiastical nature is good. Getting in tune with self, getting in tune with family, real family, that's good. Joining the temple. It's not for everybody, but everybody should at least try. I'm glad I did, even though. But it works for me because I don't even talk to people that's not affiliated with it like that. Most people I talk to is the people, like the actual, so-called like muckety mucks of the whole thing. They don't really talk to me. And, it may also be me. Maybe I'm not reaching out. Maybe that's what this is. Who knows? You see what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows what's going on? I don't. I'm just doing the knowledge to what's going on and how it's happening. Therefore, I can give a better concerned decision for my family and for the members of the temple, because that's how it really works. Other than that, I don't have any control. I don't have control of how people interpret what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? I don't have control over that. I can't tell you how to interpret. I can't tell you to like everything I'm saying. How would that sound? That would sound like I was crazy, like I was some sort of tyrant. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say it's not about me. It's about what I'm producing to allow people to see that it's really about us. But us doesn't just mean the United States. It means those of us that want us. Because out of us, we become we, and out of we become a people. Out of a people, we become a tribe. Out of a tribe, we become a clan. Out of a clan, we become a nation. Out of a nation, we become a republic. Out of a republic, we become a confederation. From confederation, we become an empire. It's simple, man. This cracker laid it out. He laid it all out for you. He laid it all out for you. And people still blaming him. He ain't got nothing to do with this. He's just the one that's running the ship at the time. Because it was like we were steering the ship, and then we got in a fight with our brother or sister, and then let the wheel go. And then the slave had to jump up, break the chain, and hold the ship and keep it from going into the rock and while we fighting. That's what's going on. They spending your money. They know. You can't owe them nothing if you owe them something, if they owe you something. Whatever they say you owe them is negotiated through the corporation. And our corporation happens to be the Moorish Science Temple of America. Divine and National Movement. That's how it works for us. Because that's how the prophet said it would work. And he was right. It works like that. It works like that. So I'm not vested in the system. I'm vested in what I get out of it to produce for the people in the temple. Because the people are the temple. And the temple is within. You see how simple? It's simple. That's why I love truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. Who doesn't want that? Who's against that? Whoever says, oh, they're Moors, I don't deal with them Moors, they're saying then that they're not into love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. That's what they're saying. So say that. Next time you start dissing them more, say, nah, I'm not into that. I'm not into that love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. I'm not into all of that. You dig what I'm saying? Because that's what they're saying. That's just how the man set it up. So based on how it was set up like that, all we got to do is do our part to be industrious and create more for the empire. It has nothing to do with the United States. This has nothing to do with a UCC filing. I could do this without all of that. I could do this with less money and half the time. And that's why sometimes people donate and do stuff in a major amount, because they want to see what you're doing with nothing. Well, we're doing a hell of a lot with almost nothing. A lot. And 4.5 million people over the past 7 years have agreed to that, then things have to change for us to reflect that energy. So that's what we're promoting out into the universe as far and wide to Sirius B, A, B, and C, and even past that to the great Virgo supercluster. That is the inevitable point for us all at one point of our post-human experience here. So get ready. The only way you can do that is by understanding self, and that's why we're here. Physician, heal thyself, know thyself. These were the tenets of the ancient Egyptians, who were the Canaanites. Those were the ancient Egyptians, and they were also the Phoenicians, who were also the Moabites, who were also the Nabateans and the Axumites and the Elamites, and the Fomorians and the Carthaginians and the Macedonians and the Peloponnesians, and you see what I'm saying? You can go on and on forever. But if you don't know these people mean Asiatic people, then you believe, that Noah was Russell Crowe, or from the people of Russell Crowe. You see what I'm saying? And people like him existed at that time, and they were blessed to do those things for their own people. So we're talking about ancient Africa, ancient Asia, with no black people. Not just some, no black people. But it was a great movie, right? It was a great movie, right? It was suspenseful, right? Exactly. I think they heard you. She said, I didn't see it. I said, exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean. But I did see it. I saw it when it was Troy. I saw it when it was Gladiator. I saw it when it was 300. I saw it when it was Ben-Hur. I saw it when it was Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Like, you know what I'm saying? So what, white people was banging on white people in ancient times? Well, there was no black people in these places that black people were said to exist in the history books? Okay. It's entertaining, though, and that's what it's about, right? It's not about color. It doesn't matter what color they are, right? Yeah. Well, why don't they make an all-black one then? Why don't they make an all-Hispanic one then? Why don't they make an all-Asian one then? Oh, well, the demographic says that wouldn't do well. What demographic? What demographic? Selena said the white people that pay for the airtime. Exactly. For the production. Exactly. That's the world that we live in, guys. That's the real world. It's who you know. It's who you have sex with. That's what's going on, man. That's what's really going on. It's who your father was, who your sister was, what your brother did. It's not about you. Not about your merit. You know how talented you were more than the last person you probably went to go get a job interview for and that asshole got it, or somebody else? You know how more talented you were than that person who should have got that? You were. But what do they say? You don't have enough experience. Well, don't I need experience to have enough? Then they say, oh, well, you have too much experience. So should I forget? Should I get a brick and hit my head, my prefrontal lobe, to destroy my memory so I can forget that I have that experience to learn it again? This is the world that they live. This is the world that they've created for your children, man. White folk. I'm talking even white folk. This is what your ancestors left for you. This is what they did. You're not trying to change it though. You're not trying to flip it though. You're not trying to have that black baby get tutored by somebody like me. You're not that in. You're not that liberal. You know, you're with that Crowleyism to a point. Because the liberal system came out of the liberal. Think about it. Look at when liberalism came to the colleges. Who brought it there? Who adopted it there? People like Jack Parsons, people like, Irma Mankiller. That's the legacy they left for you. So what are you going to do about it? You're just going to marry a black chick, you know what I mean, have the black baby, raise the black baby in it with other white guys with black chicks with half black babies, or you're vice versa, right? Why is it that race in this country is always between black and white people? The Mexicans don't have, they discriminate with them sometimes even more. But nobody looks at it like that from their perspective because nobody cares because they do all the work. That's the United States. That's the country that you live in. That's it. You know what I'm saying? The best of the worst. It's the best. It's better than Bahrain. You could be a billionaire in Bahrain, but then you got to be part of the club where you defecating on women and having sex with little boys and all that. That's what these niggas is going over there and doing. I don't know if you knew. That's the new Bangkok for these black niggas. That's the new shit. You don't know? They got a nice lodge over there for those Negroes. You see? That's why somebody like me, they're not gonna, they'll deal with a point. You know what I'm saying? I'm more behind the scenes guy, and I know that. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cool with that. Because that's how it's supposed to go. You see what I'm saying? But I have creative outlets that allow me to have a societal thing. I can paint. I can rap. Like, there's things that I like to do that have nothing to do with moral science. But people would never know because they don't talk to me about nothing else. And I'm not saying that people should. You should talk to me about what you want to talk to me about because that's the point of this whole thing. Freedom. Be free to find out what you want to find out. That's the whole thing. These niggas ain't that free. I have to ask for zakat, which is payment. I have to because I've given more than I could physically make. Therefore, anything that I get has to be of merit. That's just the bed that I created for myself. Sorry. Okay, well, that just means that, I won't get invited to the sex ritual. So that's actually good. You see what I'm saying? It turned out. But it may mean then that I may not get the job. Oh, that's bad. But then it may mean that I may, meet the love of my life. That's good. You see what I'm saying? That's where we live. That's it. That is everybody's problem. The duality. We are of a single giant sun that's so black that it give off an ultraviolet white light. That's where we're really from. And that's the spiritual aspect of us. And then that's the spirit. But then the soul, that's the part of us that is the greater creation of it all. So that means that there's an upgrade from that. Can you imagine an upgrade from being a pure light being in the physical form that you want, and then you project what you like or what you don't like by what you think of to the person or the being that you're talking to? Can you imagine then having a higher state of being than that? These niggas ain't ready. You know what I'm saying? They not ready. They not ready for that. These niggas ain't ready for that. They want to keep you in paperwork and all of that. They want to, you know what I'm saying? I may not even be ready. I may just be talking shit. Like, I may think that I am and then get to the point where it's like, okay, now we're floating up into the air. And I'll be like, but wait. let me touch a tree for one last time. Is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how real things are now, that we almost have to be with self. Like, there's no other way, man. If you really want it, like, I really want it. I really want to be able to be in a place that's so hot, but then so lush and beautiful that I can be there and not have to worry about my son or my daughter or my son or the temple or the family and all that. And I could just be there and watch my wife walk around in her splendor. You dig? Like, that's something that I would like. You see? So if I want that, ain't nobody going to give that to me. Nobody can say, oh, here's that. Nobody. I have to create the place for that to happen. You dig? Therefore, the creation is that of which we give life to in our mind, because that's the part of us that's really ours. Your mind is yours. Nobody can break it down for you. They can break your body and then fool your mind into even that it's broke. But it's really your body is weary. But it ain't your mind. It ain't your spirit. It ain't your soul. That's why you still here. You here to keep it going. You dig? Like, we're here to keep. It's the human race. Like, we running to keep this thing going, man. Because if you stop, it's gonna stop. The world is spinning because you got billions of people, billions of animals, billions of insects, billions of minerals, billions of rocks, billions of lands, billions of waters, moving all at the same time. It ain't spinning by itself. Like, think about that. Everything on the planet is moving at such a rapid rate that it's actually making the world go. So if the weight of the planet is 66 sextillion tons, which is a unit followed by ciphers, that's the weight of everybody's weight on the planet. So that's double that. And that's just the outside of the planet. We're not even talking about the inside with the sun. When you go into space from the surface, you're going into outer space. When you go into space from the inner earth, you're going into inner space. How do you do that? That's a whole class. That's a whole thing. You can't just talk about that on Blog Talk Radio. These white people eat that up. They be trying that tomorrow. As soon as we get off, they be like, okay, get the temple, get it straight. That's how the white man do. Look what you heard. Get the movie The Killing Room. Get that. I'll show you how they get down to discuss human behavior and how things work. So, please check out www.cordobaorganics.com, www.aseertheducateers.com, www.darkskull418.com, www.sagaasad.com. Also, anybody wants to holler at us about what's going down here in Ecclesiastical District number 3. Like I said, I'm not one of these Moors that's going to be out here talking about everything we doing and all of that, and promoting and all, like I'm not down with all of that, because too many people spoil the ship, and a lot of these people are so far gone in their little clubs, their little Dar Manual, clubs, their little fake Rotarian lion clubs and stuff. These things are horrible for Moors, man. I'm telling you. Only Moors that are not Masons can absolve Masons who are Moors, or Moors who became Masons. Think about it. in the end, you're gonna have to reconcile with the aspect that is connected to Lucifer. And that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with the prophet. That ain't got nothing to do with the temple. That ain't got nothing to do with the corporate aspect of the temple, which is supposed to have. We're supposed to have a corporate agent to deal with the devil, man. You can't be dealing with him in your true person. The king don't talk to the underling. You don't do that unless you a slave, unless you a pretender, an imposter. That's how they treating you. You talk to these people through the mail with your imagery and seals and all that on it. That's how you're supposed to do it. So that way when you finally show up, they dealing with you in your capacity to move you out of there. Always do things in your capacity and you'll be straight. But your capacity can't be no black sovereign. Come on, man, what is that? That sounds like a terrorist group. You know what I'm saying? That's some whole other steez, man. That's going in with them people too deep. Like, if you want to deal with them with paperwork, you deal with them from the perspective of you as a temple and them part of ecclesiastical jurisdiction and them as a foreign state that you have a console in, which is your house, and that you dealing with them like this and a registered corporate agents that is in the name of the true temple and all of that. So that way they deal with you through that. So that way it's never you they dealing with. They're always dealing with you as an officer of the organization. That's why the prophet was all wise. Marcus Garvey ain't do that for you. Malcolm X ain't do that for you. Elijah Muhammad ain't do that for you. He set the foundation that was then turned away from them. But he too came out of the Morrison Temple, Robert Poole Bay. But the dead have no guilt. He don't care. He don't care what you think of him now. He don't care. These people don't care. In New Life, the nigga that kill you be your best friend. That's the level of the game they playing on. I ain't at that level yet. So, in that, if anybody wants to email us for lectures or tarot readings, natal chart readings, lectures, book signings, workshops, tutorials, anything like that, email us at houseofl@hotmail.com. Also, check out Be Told, everybody that's been supporting that. The numbers is really crazy. Thank you for up, because that allows us to bring more direct talk, real talk to the people from here to Sirius A, B, and C, and everywhere in between, all the lesser systems like Draco and Digitaria and all of that. So definitely check out that. I just want to say publicly congratulations to Selena for setting up Cordoba Organics, which is actually healing people, and is a really, really great product. And I'm really proud of you, babe. It's great. Congratulations. Every bottle got a crystal in it. It's real talk, very dope. So definitely support www.cordobaorganics.com. And Tuan and Turk, thank you for bringing that to the world as a descendant of the Cordoban Moors that some Moors hate on, but we know not everybody is a bad apple because we all come from the same tree, you know what I'm saying? So, inshallah, this has been Super Heru Radio. Definitely tune in, Truth Be Told. Definitely hit us up at houseofl@hotmail.com. Definitely support the home team, Team Cordoba. And, again, man, all of the haters are really the motivators, and they really help in their own way. So, blessings to those, again, who have lost loved ones and all of that, and those who have welcomed new loved ones coming into the world. Inshallah, they'll be turned into good people, and long live the fighters, you know. Next time we convene, we'll do a thing we can call in, and we'll build. But we just wanted to go in. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, and keep checking for us. We always, all right? Peace.